Hello, friends. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Life with Barry Martins. My name is Barry Martins, and it's nice to have you on this podcast. How are you doing? After my last podcast on the dilemma of the organized church, and I got a lot of feedback. Not a lot, but 2 people reached out to me. For a podcast that I'm just starting, or I've been quite a little bit inconsistent, when people comment, it's a lot of motivation. It's encouraging for people to tell you that, I listened to the podcast, and these are my opinion. So I must say thank you, for listening to me. I basically just share my thoughts, my opinions about life-related issues or things that I see or I experience. So that's basically what I do in this Life with Barry Martins podcast. So, on to another matter. So today, I'm actually just coming back from an event, a gospel music event, a major gospel music event, and right now I'm even wondering why it's significant, but I think I'm going to get to that point. I actually don't know what the title of this podcast is, but I'll also get to that point. But so I attended this gospel music event, and this is me attending a major industry-focused gospel music event in a very long time. When I mean industry-focused, meaning, one of those events that you go to and then you have a lot of the players in the industry, artists, media people, stakeholders, one of those events that almost becomes a meet and greet and a mixer of some sort, so I went to one of them, and this is me, going to one in a very, very long time. I'm guessing maybe because the artist personally invited me or sent me a message, so I thought, and then of course she's one of our clients at Gospel Buzz, Gospeltainment, now Gospel Buzz. So I had to attend. Now, why is it significant? It's important, or rather, it's giving me a mixed feeling. I just went there and I came back with mixed feelings. I had a lot of thoughts, or I have a lot of thoughts going through my mind about my experience there. Not that anybody did anything, to me or anything, but I just had a flurry of flashbacks of my journey as a gospel music media person. First a blogger, then a media person. I just had a flurry of flashback because everybody that I was seeing and I recognized, I had a story with. I had a story. I saw. I don't know if I should mention names, but I saw. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to mention names. I saw. Of course, the event is Onosis event. I saw her. There was Michael Do, there was Monique, there was Uncle Sammy Oposo, there was Annie, there was Tosin B. I can't remember any other person I can't remember, but each of those faces that I saw, I had a flashback of my interaction or my business dealing or my ministry dealing with them, and maybe because I was running a gospel music platform, and I got to a point and I felt that it wasn't making any headway. I wasn't pushing, I wasn't getting the kind of results I want to get, even though a lot of people would think that we got major results. Gospeltainment was the flagship, or was, because we've changed the name, the flagship gospel music platform in Nigeria that is still existing, right? Something I started in 2009 and the focus was to promote gospel music. This was in the days when the biggest names in the blogging space were Linda Ikeji's of this world, the Not Just Okay of this world. This was those days. Nobody was focused on gospel music, and we started it. And I don't know if there's anybody else who has a pedigree that is older than this, as long as the online space for gospel music and Christian entertainment is concerned. But I think we are the oldest, and sometimes I feel that we are not appreciated, or I am not appreciated for that feat. But then again, Igbo people say that if a lizard falls from the tree and nobody hails him, he would hail himself and then keep going on. So I guess that's how we're going to take it. But let me get back to my story. So going there today, seeing all those beautiful faces, lovely people who have impacted me, and have probably influenced and impacted me one way or the other, brought back a flurry of emotions, mixed emotions. And some of them, some of the emotions, an elating one, some of them maybe regrets, some of them mixed. The reason being that the gospel music space, or generally the music space, is an interesting one, and I think I'm going to share why it's a mixed experience for me. So when I started Gospeltainment to help promote or make available gospel music to people. So this was the days when secular music was becoming daring. Now, when I use the word secular music, a lot of my friends, some of my friends have issue with the word secular attached to music, because they feel that every music is music, right? So I don't know how else to express the genre of music that they now call Afrobeats, or the genre of music where the content is not wholesome. It has curse words, slur words, street slang, and then the videos have half naked video vixens, bare chest guys smoking and drinking, and the women being seductive, or I don't know how. I'm sorry if you feel offended, but I'm just trying to explain part of the inspiration, part of the push, the reason why we started Gospeltainment. So this was the days when the secular music, for lack of a better word, right, was becoming more daring with their content. This was in the 2000s, in the 2000s, 2005, 2006. This was those days. So this was those days when the Nigerian music space started becoming more daring, trying to copy the Western culture, and then more daring, and it was a shock to some of us who were born again Christians in those days, or born again, or believers. It was a shock for us, because you put on television and you're seeing stuff that you would cringe at, adults would cringe at, and yet children are being exposed to that level of corruption, let me use the word, right? So for someone like me who got born again when I was in secondary school, a teenager, right, it was a thing of shock to me, and I wanted to do something, and music was a very powerful tool. I keep saying all the time that music is that thing that can get into you without your permission. This is a quote that I have been quoting for a very long time. I hope that someday someone will write it in one of the quotable quotes book and then give me credit to it. Music is that thing that can get into you without your permission. I keep saying it all the time. And these were the days when the music was very daring. Very daring. 2008, 2009. I was in school. I just came out of school 2009. And I had seen a lot of talent in my school fellowship, because I was a Christian boy, like, from day one. I got born again JS2, even before then. My house, my mom was a charismatic, my father was a catechist, or was a catechist, because he's late now. So I grew up literally in church. Right now, seeing that, I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to do something, because I grew up, not only did I grow up in church, I grew up with music, because everybody in my house was a musician. My dad was a pianist, he was a choir director, my mom could sing, my sisters could sing, so music was a core in our house, right? So I wanted to do something about it, about the daringness, or the level of impunity with which secular music was taking over the media space. I wanted to do something about it. I felt a leading in my spirit to do something about it. So I had an idea. At the end of my stay in school, I think it was, those period between you writing your project and, defending your project or your thesis, and then, passing out, I had this vision, I had this dream to start a gospel music platform called gospeltainment. So gospel entertainment being the word that I wanted to use to cover other aspects of entertainment apart from music. So movies, drama, comedy, because I have seen a lot of talent in my school then, and I wanted to do something about it, give them a platform. So these were the days that the internet was becoming popular in Nigeria, right? But it was already popular in Nigeria, but a few selected people, were people that had access. So I started this platform called Gospeltainment, and then I got into, I'm cutting a long story short, I got into the gospel music space. I came down to Lagos from Owerri, my school. I came down to Lagos. I got into the gospel music space. I started doing stuff, going to events, going to concert, interviewing people. Where I was doing it, I didn't have any. It wasn't a business. It was just a vision in my heart. It wasn't business. It wasn't nothing. Just me trying to put the gospel in the forefront. Put the gospel music in the forefront. That was all I wanted to do. And the truth is, as a young person, as an only child from an Igbo home in Anambra State, it was a careless thing to do, because if you come from where I come from, it is all about the money. It's all about the money. Like literally, it's all about the money. You gotta make money, man. Not when you are the only son. You have to make money. So I was doing this thing. I was just sold out to God and to that work that I felt He had given me, and I wasn't thinking about how much I was going to earn for me. It wasn't business for me at all. So gradually it started dawning on me that I needed money to run this thing, because because I didn't have a job. I didn't have a job. That's probably a story for another day. I didn't have a job, and I was just very passionate about this thing I was doing. So many times there will be events, I won't have money to go to the events, or the website will go, because it was an online platform, so the website will go down, and I won't have money to, maybe I couldn't pay a webmaster, I couldn't pay an engineer so I have to start learning these things myself. I have to start learning how to troubleshoot the site. I lost that site a couple of times, and then that started all over from the scratch, or regained some part of it, so, but basically what happened is that it got to the point where it started occurring to me that, boy, you have to put food on your table. This thing that you're doing, you need money to run it. And then we started thinking of, how do we monetize what we are doing? And that is where the dilemma comes in, with trying to monetize something that has God on it. Trying to monetize something that has God on it. So maybe what I'm going to call it is trying to monetize gospel music. I don't know, maybe that's what I'm going to call this podcast. So I remember that one of the days an artist called me and said, Martins, I would like to please post my music on your website. And I said, oh man, you're going to pay us XYZ amount. And she was livid. She was like, how can you be charging? This is something of God. How can you be charging? You know. And this was the beginning of the other experiences in trying to tell artists, oh, pay me this, pay me that, for doing this and doing that, right? So I remember people like DJ, the veteran DJ Gosparella, talk to me once in a while. He would say, Perry, this thing you're doing, amazing stuff, but you need money to run it. Don't be scared to charge artists. If they feel that you're giving them value, please let them pay for it. Because he saw my struggle, right? And I always give kudos to him for that encouragement, right? But then there's a dilemma that comes with trying to do that. The dilemma is you're caught in between, are you doing ministry or are you doing business? In fact, for a very long time at Gospeltainment, we were distraught on what exactly should we call what we do. Is it ministry or business? It was a debate. In fact, artists charging for events is still a debate still now for performance. But I'm talking about media. We were running a platform, we were reaching people, we were giving them value, but I didn't know how, because number one, there was nobody ahead of me who I could go and ask and say, how do you do it? The one person that we could have asked wasn't really willing to share that level of knowledge, so I didn't bother to really ask him. And this brings us to that dilemma of trying to charge, right? Of course, what happened at the end of the day is I decided that, you know what, there's no other way we need to do this thing. We have to charge artists for this thing. And we started talking. It was difficult at the beginning, but we started insisting. We created packages, and it saved us. And finally gave the able boy money in his pocket to be able to at least send something to his parents who had sent him to school, and he's out of school and he's doing something. In fact, I remember several times that my dad would ask him, so what exactly are you doing again? And I try to explain to him, but words fail me because I don't know how to tell my dad that I was running an online. It was never heard of at the time. My parents didn't know what internet was and what blogging was. So I didn't even know how to explain it to them. I try as much as I can to explain it to them, but I can't. Because there's no way to try to tell them that there's something virtual and it's on the internet. Where is the internet? You can't really explain what the internet is. Because this was the early days. Trying to explain to my dad what I was doing in Lagos. And it was obvious that I wasn't making money, because sometimes because they were living in the east before they were living in Aba, before they finally moved to the village when my dad became catechist. So this was me trying to explain to my dad what I was doing in Lagos. It was difficult. So at one particular year that I came back for Christmas, he told me, he said, look, that thing that you're doing, if you do it one more year, it does not work. Stop it and go and do something else. The man said, stop it and go and pack up and go and do something else, for God's sake. And for my dad to get to the point where he was telling me that thing, he had it to his neck. He was like, I'm done, I beg. I don't understand what this boy is doing. But I was very consumed. In fact, I still remember a discussion I had with my brother-in-law. The guy that was my brother. He wasn't my brother-in-law then. He was about to marry my sister, and he was a businessman, very rich guy, right? Doing well. Like importer. I'm an Anambra boy, so my people have a way of being, very, brazen with their business exploits. And this was my brother-in-law, very rich guy. So one of the days that I went to his house in Abuja, I can't remember whether he had married my sister. I hadn't married my sister then. But I think yeah, it was that period that they were about to get married. So he was really asking me, so what is it you do again? And all that. I was trying to explain to him. He didn't really get it. He was like, do you sell music? Is it CDs? I said, no, it's on the internet. It was on the internet. We post music online. And he was like, so how do you people make money? I said, well, we charge people for posting it online. And he said, they pay you? I say, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't do. But, I mean, there's prospect in it. And then we get money from adverts. He couldn't get it. But then again, this was me, 20-something years old. So he wasn't literally going to tell me what I was going to do with my life, right? But, so, coming to this event today just brought a flurry of memories of, each of those artists and, my journey running Gospeltainment. From running the online blog, we opened a studio where we were doing an online radio. I remember I was trying to shoot the Gospeltainment show, a talk show for gospel music. This was 2013 or 2014, right? So I remember I invited Onos, I invited Peter, I invited CY the comedian. He's in the US now. I invited CY the comedian. I invited who else again? We had this lounge. We wanted to shoot the thing. I made arrangements, brought videographer. Did all sorts. So, with all the stress of organizing it myself, because I wasn't, we didn't have money to pay people, so I was literally doing all the run around. I couldn't even concentrate or be calm enough to engage the artist with discussion. I was so tired that in the interview with me and Onos was literally like, bro, smile now. Bro, smile now. You are all tight and all. I mean, so. Because I was doing all the run around, and then I still have to come and do the interview. I remember, in fact, the funny part is that interview didn't make it to Limelight because the guy that shot it never edited it. And I'm guessing probably because I didn't pay him. Because there was no money anywhere. Right? So every time Peter sees me, PITA, he'll be like, you brought me all the way, and then I did interview and it did not come out. So these and many other things that the thoughts that were just going through my mind today, remembering all the process, all the challenge. So after running Gospeltainment, we later had some really amazing successes. We got into the Tony Elemelo, foundation. We got a $5,000 investment. We pushed, but the truth is that the gospel music industry wasn't ready for being a business. It's difficult to make a business out of the gospel music space because of the various reservations and conservativeness that is within and around the church. And this is me saying it because I've done, between 2009 till now, that's about 13 years of doing this. It was difficult, even though there is business, but there is no business, because the artists, in fact, these days it's becoming better these days, because the artists are becoming more bold to send a rider and send what the financial cost is going to be, and pastors are already getting to the point where they know that they have to pay. But in those days it was difficult to talk money, and money was important. Money was important for the ministry. So you had the church, then you had the gospel artists, then you had us who were the media people trying to push the gospel artists. It was difficult to talk about money. So today going to that event just brought back a lot of those memories. And around 2019, I think 2019, I closed up our office, and that's the second time I was closing shop. The first time we closed shop, the first time we wanted to close shop. So how do I start this? So 2019 I told myself, we were somewhere in Ikeja, we were paying rent, we had a partnership with the church, so the church gave us, but we were paying, utilities and stuff, but we had a partnership with the church that meant that we won't pay them rent, but we'll have to pay for our utilities and other things, right? But even to maintain that and still pay staff who were on our radio, who were working on the side, working on social media, was difficult. And at a point, I said, you know what? I'm not doing this thing again. I'm tired. This was 2019. I said, I'm tired. I'm not doing this thing again. If I was, I kept thinking, maybe if I was running, all the guys that I knew who started secular blogs around the same time I started, they were doing so well, in quotes. They were doing so well. So I was like, you know what? I'm tired of pushing. I'm tired. And as an Igbo boy, you either go big or go home. You are either hitting big or you're not doing it at all. You gotta do something else. So I just got tired, and you know what? And then I wanted to. So I had some money, and this 2019. This was me in my 30-something years. I was already 30-something. Some people don't know that I'm old. I'm nearly 40. I'm nearly 40 in just a couple of years. So this was 30-something in my life. I wasn't married. I had been living in one place in Kotu for a long time, and I'm coming to church in Victoria, in Lekki, House on the Rock. So I just said, you know what, I'm done pushing. Let me just take a break, go and I have a lot of skills. I've gathered a lot of skill, IT skills, music business skills, and I wanted to just do something else, but I was tired of pushing. I think either 2018 or 2019, I can't remember. So I was tired of pushing, and November, I won't forget the month. It was in the month of November. I had just met my wife. We weren't married yet, but we were dating, so I just closed the Ikeja office. I told our staff, you know what, guys, we're done. We closed the Ikeja office and moved all our equipment to I just got a place in Lekki then. I just moved everything to the Lekki house. I said, you know what, this was 2018 November, because in 2019 we got married. So I moved everything, and then I just stopped being active in the gospel space. I wasn't going to events. I wasn't, I just stopped I was just withdrawing gradually, because I wanted to go and do something else, because I felt I had given so much of my life. At that point, it was 10 years, and it wasn't working. I left. I wanted to go do something else, try some other hustles, business, whatever I can lay my hands upon to do to make money. It was one of those situations where my wife had a regular job, an amazing job, like one of those dream jobs, and I was like, no, this can't happen. She can't be making that amount of money, and then I'm not bringing enough to the table. How is it going to work? It's going to probably affect the marriage or something. So I just abandoned it. So from that time, that 2018 to 2019, right? I had just been, less active in gospel-related things, just less active. Up until 2020, during the pandemic, when we started Yvera, the digital distribution service that we run now. But I couldn't shut down Gospeltainment entirely, because I felt it was a legacy that we had built And then part of my yes, I need to say this. Part of my concern or my discomfort today was that we had charged a lot of artists to put their content on our platform and all, and then sometimes the artists feel that you don't do well, you have not done enough for them, or you have not done a lot for them, for what they paid you. But the truth is, how much did they pay? Just the brain work. It's worth a lot much more. What you do is worth a lot much more. But because we're all in that gospel space, every small money that someone gives you, they feel that they have given you a lifetime of salary or whatever, and then they expect you to kill and die on their music, right? So just going out there today just had a lot of mixed feelings. I personally told myself I don't want to go and be running around following an artist, trying to do interviews or get them to smile at me or come to my radio station or no, I was done with that. 2019 I said I was done with that. I actually literally deliberately cut off a lot of relationships, like literally deliberately cut off a lot of relationships because I felt I didn't want to do this anymore. I didn't want to do it anymore. And just going out today, seeing all those faces just reminded me of all those times, and I love them, I respect them, but at that time I just felt, man, I had it here. I had enough. I had enough. Now this is me ranting. The moral of the story is in this particular podcast. This is me just sharing my journey as an entrepreneur, as a Christian entrepreneur, building a Christian brand, and the conflictions that came about it. Came in trying to do what I felt I was called to do, or what I had passion for. So in my next episode, I'm going to share important and interesting things that have the moral of the story is, or take homes. But this is just me sharing, a feeling and a discontentment. Thank you for always listening to me. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. Have an amazing day. Bye.